you've got to move forward in faith. And it's not it's not like a blind faith. It's faith based on understanding. Do some homework, try it out. Do some homework, try it out. Do some homework, try it out. And the more you start learning about this thing that you want to do, this business that you want to start, this business that you want to grow, this business that you want to scale, then the easier it's going to be. You're going to be able to make decisions because you actually have some kind of basis for the actions you're taking. But you've got to take action, or like faith will have no substance.
This is Get Unstuck Podcast, a podcast for entrepreneurs who prioritize their life first, business second. I'm Mudita Panmuk, your host, who dedicates my life to designing and building a business that supports lifestyle. We will learn together from entrepreneurs around the world how they overcome their life challenges, their business obstacles, and yet still get unstuck from the hamster wheel of burying themselves into their business. Because time is the number one commodity in the world that you cannot get back once it's gone. So let's shorten the learning curve and see how can we prioritize better. Let's get unstuck. Hi, Get Unstuck Nation. Our guest today is the author of Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away. So, Larisa Makuch, founder of Abundance Academy, empowers professional women to achieve their dreams with clarity, confidence, and conviction while trading stress, overwhelm, for a rich, fulfilling life of purpose. Does that sound familiar? If this is something that right now in your life is stopping you from living that life that you are wanted or missing right now, I think this episode is for you. So without further ado, please welcome Larisa to Get Unstuck Podcast today. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm feeling amazing.
Lovely.
So, yeah, I mean, I see your book, I read your book, and I'm like, this episode is going to be epic because, like, people need this. Like, I mean, stop procrastinating your life away. Before we get to that topic, though, how did you start this entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. So I never had an entrepreneurial bone in my body when I was younger. I thought I was going to get a job and have a nice house with a white picket fence and have a very conservative lifestyle. And then all of a sudden I got myself into university and had no clue what to do. I was just completely clueless. I feel like I changed my major 500 times. And my first career post school ended up being in the financial services field. And I was self-employed. I was in a sales position, and I never thought it was good. I never thought it was bad, but it was just something very radically different from what I ever expected. And it happened by default. And it was actually one of the most pivotal moments of my life because it taught me where I was comfortable and where I had some serious growth opportunities. And so that got me really interested in a world of personal growth and development. I met people that had businesses and they were doing beautiful things in the world. They were making the world a better place in various different industries. And I thought it was just the coolest thing that they had these visions and they were making a difference. And I didn't know how to do that. I didn't have a clue. I was buying into their vision, but I remember a little voice in the back of my head said, I want to do that too. And so I think the seed was planted way, way, way back then. And over time, I dabbled in a few different businesses. We ended up starting a real estate business. We did a lot of training, and we bought, fixed, and flipped houses. We got into some other real estate ventures. Again, they came to us. We didn't go seeking business. I never thought I was in business. I just thought I was doing things. So at that point, I guess I was doing business ventures, but I never really thought of myself as in business. I had a pole dance home party business. And again, it was something fun I was doing. I was guiding women through a beautiful experience and offering them a new way of looking at themselves and their bodies and giving them a beautiful time, right? And I didn't think I was in business. Flash forward a few more years, I was running a business. And that was the very first time I really put my business hat on because I was actually working in someone else's company for the first time. And it was really a beautiful symbiotic relationship because I got to help grow a business that was already established and do it alongside someone else that had a different level of experience. And it was an opportunity for me to step into a world that I'd always wanted, but I was afraid to enter myself. But because I had someone else I could work with and someone else I could mentor alongside, it was such a beautiful opportunity. And then when it came time to step into this business, I moved forward, ready, fire, aim. I did not want to get into the coaching space. I had no desire to do anything with the coaching field. 20 some odd years ago when I was in personal growth and development, the coaching I had gotten over the years for business, for life, for spirituality, for anything made such a profound difference in my life. I think it kept following me along the way, and I had to step into this business. Logically, I didn't want to, but my heart said go. And I really, truly stepped into it with a business mindset. I had a lot of business experience, but until really stepping into this business, I never thought of myself as in business. So that might be a very long answer to your question. However, I think one of the biggest differentiators was mentally, I was prepared to be in business, whereas before I was wanting to be in business. It was a dream, it was something, but I don't know if I'd ever truly fully committed to the concept of having my own business. It was just something that was around, and it was exciting, and it was a growth opportunity along the way.
And how can you know that this is the right time to start? This was the right time to start at that time.
I don't think there is a right time. I don't think anyone's got a right time to start a business. I know in that moment, my husband, we were actually watching an event and an opportunity to become a consultant for a company and start your own business within another business came up. And I loved what I was doing. And he stood up and he said, Larisa, if you keep doing what you're currently doing, are you going to get to where you need to be? And he was shaking his finger and he's like, got his hands on his waist. And my husband's not the confrontational kind that towers over you and speaks like that. And I remember in that moment, everything in my body said, I wanted to say yes, because I had a great job. I was earning good income. I loved what I did. I loved my clients. I loved a lot of things. On the surface, it was really good. But in the depths of my soul, I couldn't say yes. And I knew in my heart that was the time to leave. It was scary. I had no plan. I went in ready, fire, aim. But I knew it was a time to really get serious and do something that a seed had been planted for so long ago. But I never had the courage to pursue in that capacity before that. And it was scary and it was illogical, but I had to do it. And I wouldn't recommend people throw away their jobs for a pipe dream. Like, you have to really have a good stomach to say, I'm leaving my position before you're fully established. However, I knew for myself I needed to, and I'm grateful I did. And I think you really need to know what your signs are when God is speaking to you and knocking. They say prayer is when you speak to God, intuition is when God speaks to you. And I think in this day and age of cell phones and internet and TikTok reels and everything going so quickly, it's hard to find a moment to just be in quiet and really start listening to yourself. And the signs are there if you're quiet enough and pay attention.
So you mentioned this is a dream that has planted the seed for a long time ago. How can you know that this is something that you have been wanted? Like, this is the life that, okay, finally you make decision and this is the way that you start pivoted and this is always something that you want.
Yeah, I remember when I was in financial services, I had this hope and I had the willingness to work, but I did not have the social skills. I knew my products, I knew my services, I learned how to sell, but I didn't really know how to talk to people. And I remember feeling so awkward talking to people and just having a basic conversation. This isn't even like advanced sales strategy. And one of the first books I read in the personal growth and development space, it was in high school, I think grade 11 or 12. It was How to Start a Conversation and Make Friends. And I remember I applied that book and it worked. And then personal finance, like, you have to get to know yourself better than anyone else. You have to learn how to operate. And back then I started falling in love with personal growth and development. I have, let me see if I can move my camera. This is my library.
Wow.
Okay. Like I do what I teach. I don't just, I don't just talk about books. I read books. I study. Like, what do I do on Saturday mornings for fun? I pull out like 5 to 10 books and I go to my sofa and I start reading a chapter out of this one, a chapter out of this one. Like, I take extra time to read. I read every single day. And I study with different people in different industries, and growth is one of my highest needs. And it came from so long ago because I needed it, and it made me feel good. It made me feel confident. When I was able to start connecting with people, I felt good because I didn't feel like I was trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And so often when we don't have the skills to do something, we may be afraid to acquire them because they're scary. In business, for a lot of people, it's marketing and visibility. It's being willing to be seen. It's sharing your story. I'm okay with it now, but I don't think I even ever thought about doing something like this 20, 25 years ago. That didn't even enter my world. But as I stepped into this business and online visibility became a thing, I practiced. I remember some people are like, how do you do reels? I'm so scared to talk on camera. I'm like, well, I used to have a little notebook. It was a little smaller than this. And I'm like, I wrote everything I wanted. I was
You are frozen.
trying not to move my eyes so that I could actually say what I wanted to say in my heart. I didn't have the confidence. I would start it over 10, 20 times, but I kept going until it worked. And now it's, you stick the camera on and you have 2 minutes and then you got to get onto something else. It's so much easier, but it wasn't always like that. And you start and you do the reps and you do the reps and you learn the skills because it's leading to something more important. It's leading to something bigger. And I think your question was, how do you know when it's your calling? There's going to be different tells for different people. Maybe it's a certain feeling. Maybe you might hear something, that inner chatter or that inner voice saying, it's about time, you better get on this. When are you going to do it? Maybe you'll start seeing signals or signs that align with something, but you've got to look for the messages. You might just have a sense of inner knowing, and it's really paying attention to your intuition. There's different ways that it's expressed for different people. But until you have enough space and give yourself the time and the space to pay attention and even ask yourself, like, how do I feel about this? If it feels good, fundamentally, it might feel scary. You might want to puke a little bit. but if it feels good in your heart and soul and guts, if there's something that's calling you to go there, you got to go there, or you'll live life with regrets.
And how can we know, that there's something ahead of us? Like, thinking about it, that when we caught up with the day-to-day so much, I believe many people who are listening to this could potentially used to what they are doing on day-to-day, and maybe not realize there are more for them, or there may be like other options for them, that they can be more successful, or more time with their family, or even more freedom, or more security, more relationship events. How can they stop procrastinating other part of their life?
Yeah, I think if you look at your day, when you lay your head on your pillow at night, are you satisfied? And I don't know if most people are. I think most people are just like, whew, I made it through today. Awesome. Check that off the list. But when you lay down at night and you go, wow, like, how was today? Was this a good day? Did I make a difference in the world? Did I connect with people, or did I have some enjoyment in my relationships? What were some of the joyful moments of today? Like, what were some good things that happened? Can I acknowledge them? Like, what could have made them even better? And I don't think a lot of times we take those moments. It could take like 3 to 5 minutes at the end of your day. And if you're not feeling a sense of satisfaction, if you're not feeling some sense of joy, if you're not feeling some sense of alignment, that's a good sign that it's perhaps time to start looking at what is misaligned with you and what do you really want? And it sounds like such a simple question. I have clients that come to me and some are like, okay, I know what I want. I'd say 95% of people don't really know what they want. They kind of have a direction, but it actually takes them 3, 6, 12 months, sometimes even a couple years to really uncover what they want. And that might sound like an eternity, especially to young people out there. Okay. Like I know like a year or two to figure out, it's going to go by in a heartbeat. However, as you discover and uncover what you really want, you try something and then you assess. You try something and then you assess. You try something and then you assess. And you start trying on your dreams, because you won't know what you want just by some idea. You've got to actually get out there and give some things a try. They're not all going to work. Some will fall on their face. However, others are going to work. Others are going to materialize and turn into something absolutely beautiful. And when you, again, as you go along, take the time to pay attention in your assessment, go, wow, how did this go? Did I enjoy myself? Is this what I meant to do? Is this the direction I meant to go into? You've got to ask yourself questions and tune in. And sometimes you'll be like, totally in alignment. No, I didn't like this. Okay, I have a story. I thought I wanted a really sexy car, sports car. And so I one day booked a viewing at one of the car dealerships, and an Aston Martin. So they're like James Bond cars. They're sexy. They're sporty. I'm like, I want a sexy sports car. And I remember going, and I was excited. But when I got there, I had like a weird vibe, and it didn't feel good. The salesperson, I didn't connect with him. I didn't get great vibe. He wasn't bad. I just didn't gel with me, wasn't asking questions in ways I liked. He was doing all the right things by the book, but it didn't align with me. I loved the display car that they had from the James Bond era, like way back in the day. But every other car, I was like, there's something about this car I don't like. It didn't resonate with me. And that was a really good sign that this car I'd been dreaming about for a year or two prior to that, when I actually took the time to go see it, I didn't even want to test drive it. I'm like, my dream is done. I may still have nice dreams of cars, but that particular dream is not going to turn into reality at this point. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future, but I don't want that right now. But I wouldn't have known if I hadn't actually gone out to test drive my dream. So whether it's a fancy car, whether it's a designer purse, like if you want a designer purse, have you actually gone to the store and held the bag, smelled the bag, seen what it looks like on your shoulders? Because just because everyone else has one, is it going to work for you? Does that color match your skin tone? If not, you're probably going to buy it and hate it. And these are things we don't think about. Same thing with your business. People are like, I want to be entrepreneur. I want freedom. Well, you don't get freedom when you start a business. It's actually work. And for 9 out of 10 people, they earn less and they work 10 times harder than if they work for someone else. So I don't think going into business is appropriate for everyone. However, if you have enough of a compelling reason, if you're willing to do the work, willing to learn the things and get strategic, it can be absolutely remarkable for you, for your family, for the legacy you're going to leave, and also for those lives that you're going to change. But it's not for everyone. And I think to be okay with that and not feel like that's the only way to get the freedom you desire, that's a real conversation you have to have with yourself.
If they have like, okay, now I need to sit down and talk to myself in the mirror. What do I want? Like, what do you want? Like, talk to mirroring ourselves, like what we see in the movies. That's kind of funny. But then if they try, but it's not yet working, what sabotage them to not starting seeing the progress just yet, usually in your experience?
Yeah, well, I think even in asking the question, people usually ask it once, and if they don't get the answer, they get frustrated and quit. I tell my clients to ask themselves that question every single day. Like every day you go, what do I want? And maybe some days it's a tea. Maybe other days it's $1 million. Maybe other days it's, I want to go for a run. I want my back to stop hurting. Maybe you don't know. And I think when you open your mind up to what do I want and what do I really want? I want beautiful conversations. I want to throw a party. I want someone to give me a hug. Like, these are real life things. But if you start doing this exercise often enough, and you don't assess as you go along, you do it for 2 weeks, 2 months, and maybe every week or two, you look at your sheets and go like, oh, this one thing keeps coming up every day. Or, wow, I'm uncovering some different things. That you're going to start noticing themes or things that really pop for you. And it's the thing under the thing, when you really look at the patterns, and as you keep asking yourself and revisiting this, you're going to start noticing what your real answers are. So I think even first thing, and even asking the question, give yourself the time and do it enough so you have the time to flush it out. And maybe as you start doing it, you'll try little things with not much attachment. But then when you have an idea and you're like, I think this is really important, you go, okay, well, I'm going to give it a shot. And then you do. And you create a vision, you create a picture, you create a really crystal clear picture. We talk about clarity, confidence, and conviction. Well, baby step to clarity is, what do you want? And that could take time. And then when you find something, you're like, I think I want this. Don't go in like you've got handcuffs and you're married to it for the rest of your life. Give it a shot. You might test drive your dream, just like I went to test drive that car. You might do it in a small way. You might go step into someone's business and say, I have a dream of doing this. Like, can I work in your business for a few days or a few weeks? Can I just watch what you do? And you start stepping into different moments or trying different things. And you're going to notice that natural things will start to unfold for you. And you've got to take action and then take the next action. And if you ask for the next steps to unfold, they will. They always do. All you have to do is stop rushing and take a few minutes to breathe and go, okay, what is my next step today? And if you literally talk to yourself like a 7-year-old, you'll get answers.
So what usually causing people not to start taking those actions? Would it be asking too big and causing them anxiety of getting there? What is it? I'm just making it up.
Fear. I mean, ultimately it's fear. When something is new, you're going to be scared. Maybe you're going to think you're not good enough. Anxiety is anticipating that something's going to fail before you even try. And then you repeat that. And of course, if you do that, if I did that, I'd get anxiety. Everyone will.
Me too.
So let's assume something's going to suck and it's not going to work. And then let's think about that. So cancel. We don't have to do that. And I think so often we get scared. We get afraid of rejection. We might think that it's all or nothing. We might go, oh, if I try this and I fail, everyone's going to think I suck. But you don't have to give up your day job on day one. You can, but if you don't feel strongly enough, it's probably not a good strategy. So people do things out of fear. But here's the thing that happens is your unconscious mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And back in the caveman days, when you're chased by lions and tigers and bears, oh my, your body is designed to run away from fear and do everything to avoid it. Why? Because your life might be in danger. And biologically, we still process fear the same way. Send a text message to someone asking a question. You think your life is in danger, you get scared. You're not going, oh, my life is in danger, but unconsciously you're like, oh, I can't. My heart starts to race and you start to get scared. You anticipate this unfavorable outcome. You do like mind games with yourself, but it's the same thing. You're still in avoidance. So you procrastinate or you avoid it. Or you might have to speak live on camera and someone might see it and go, oh, they're not good enough. Okay. So what? Or you might have to go to a different kind of event and meet a new person, and you might not have the answers that they're looking for. Okay. So what? When you look at it, it's not that scary, but when you're there and when you're in it, it's terrifying. And so when you start realizing that a lot of the things that you're actually scared about, think about, here's a 3-step formula. when you're scared, ask what's the best that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And what's likely to happen? The best is it might work out. You might get 10 or 20 or 30 amazing opportunities from this one thing. Your business might take off. You might get a lucky break. You might win the lottery. You might find the love of your dreams. Who knows? What's the best that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? In most cases, you're probably not going to go bankrupt. You're probably not going to go homeless. You're probably not going to endanger your life. Like very little chance. Like for most people, it's like, I might get rejected. I might lose some money. I might spend a year or 2 or 5 of my life and not amount to anything. But if you're actually learning along the way, you're going to learn something. And so the worst case scenario is really not that bad in most cases. And sometimes when you do the worst case scenario, you laugh at it because you're like, this is totally ridiculous. Like you just laugh at the worst that could possibly happen. And what's likely to happen? You're likely to make some progress. It's likely to take longer than you expect. And you're likely to screw up along the way. But if you keep going, it's likely to work. It's not the most sexy scenario, but it's not that scary. And then you take the next step. And Steve Jobs says you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. And so often we're trying to predict the future, but we can't. You've got to move forward in faith. And it's not faith based on, it's not like a blind faith. It's faith based on understanding. Do some homework, try it out. Do some homework, try it out. Do some homework, try it out. And the more you start learning about this thing that you want to do, this business that you want to start, this business that you want to grow, this business that you want to scale, then the easier it's going to be. You're going to be able to make decisions because you actually have some kind of basis for the actions you're taking. But you've got to take action or like faith will have no substance.
You have to take action unless faith has no substance. Because if not, faith also doesn't know what is the next step of what you have done, right?
Yeah.
That's a good way of thinking. Oh, I never think about it that way. Thank you for enlightenment.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay. There are many light bulbs. What about they become unmotivated? How can they start a permanent change? Let's say start encouraging themselves to keep changing or keep developing, because not everyone is a human of habits,
Yeah. I think a lot of times we get unmotivated when things don't work. But if you get unmotivated by what you're doing, your goal isn't big enough. You're not aligned. It's not a juicy enough dream. I mean, I am not motivated to do my laundry. I have someone do my laundry for me, and I am motivated to have my laundry done, but I'm not motivated to spend a few hours every week doing my laundry. I am just not motivated to do that.
Fair enough.
So I pay someone to come to my house and do my laundry for me. Mm-hmm. I am not motivated to clean my toilets. I love having clean toilets. So I pay someone to clean my house. I remember there was one point I'm like, I haven't washed my floor in 6 months. This is many years ago. And I was like, I feel like I should wash my floor. And then I'm like, I don't want to wash my floor. Housekeepers do not cost that much money. I'm going to hire a housekeeper. So certain things that I'm motivated to have, but I'm not motivated to do myself, they're still important, but I don't have to do them. But what am I motivated by? I'm motivated to read. I'm motivated to work on clients. I'm motivated to show up on podcasts just like this one. I'm motivated to, right? I am motivated to do a lot of things in my business that most people are not willing to do. I don't like all of them, but I'm willing to do them because I'm highly motivated by my business. I'm highly motivated to serve my clients. I'm highly motivated by my dream. And I've taken the time to make sure that, yeah, this is my path. And I don't have to like it every day. And some days I get out of bed and I'm like, I want to get out of bed even if I don't like what I'm doing that day. Why? Because I know it's leading to something bigger. And I know this is literally my God-given path. So I do. I'm not
Mm.
motivated to exercise, but I am motivated to stay awake past 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If I don't exercise, I have to take a nap. I've learned. I don't love exercise. I love how exercise feels, but I know if I don't do that, it's going to affect the rest of my day. And then I'll probably be grouchy by the end of the day.
Ah.
So you've got to really look at like the things you're not motivated by. Where is the motivation coming from? It's got to be connected to something bigger than you.
It's very clear that that's why some people procrastinate on the things because they are unmotivated to do and they keep pushing that away.
Yeah.
Ah.
I think that it's definitely a big thing. And when it comes to procrastination, a lot of times people just they see certain behaviors practiced and they just adopt those habits from their parents, their caregivers, people around them. And I think a lot of things that we procrastinate on are just adopted to us by default. Like we accept things by default. Do you have to watch Netflix and a movie every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night? Or do you have like even TV? I never grew up watching TV during the week. We got TV on weekends after we finished our homework. And so when I met my husband, he was used to having the TV on all the time. I'm like, what are you doing? Turn this off. Like, I can't think, like, why is the TV on? Like, I'm like, give me a movie or like deliberately sit down. But I'm like, I'm in the kitchen doing dishes. Like, why is the TV on? So I'm like, no, not in my house. I was pretty firm about that. And I was used to that. But he's like, oh, well, we just used to have the TV on all the time. I'm like, well, get used to something different. And he did. And now he sees the value in not having that subliminal programming on. But he just grew up having the TV on. And I did not. And so for me, I also thought about it. I'm like, I don't want to have the TV on because I don't want to adopt what 90% of the world does, like just sit and watch TV every night, because I have things to do. I have people to serve. I have books to read. I have businesses to grow. I have real estate to purchase. Like these are things I want to do in my life. And if I'm sitting and watching TV 2 to 3 hours a night, that's not going to give me the time and space for that. And so you start making those choices. But I think a lot of times we just fall into life by default instead of by design. And we adopt these habits that get us to procrastinate on the important things in life just because we're not even aware. We don't even have the awareness. Another thing is sometimes we adopt the identity of being procrastinators. We're like, oh, I'm such a procrastinator. Eye roll. You gotta add the eye roll. It's like, oh, I'm such a procrastinator. It's so bad. And you say it like, oh, it's so hard. But don't stop saying that. Stop assuming that. Say, I've decided I'm going to be an action taker. I've decided I'm going to like take action on the things that I've been putting off. I've decided I've been a lazy bum. But now I'm going to start doing things as soon as I think of them. I'm going to take action right away. I'm going to make something of my life. Just decide that you're going to be an action taker. Decide that you're going to be successful. Decide that you're going to be productive. And flipping that identity switch is going to make a massive difference. So I think sometimes those are even some sneaky ways that we don't really think about this procrastination trap and how it shows up in our lives. But these are ways that it's just around us and we're not even aware of it.
What about this book, Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away? What inspired you to write this book, though?
I was actually at a seminar and I was sitting and talking to someone, and she was telling me about a story, about a conversation she had. And she was it's actually in chapter 2 of my book, and she was telling me about this conversation. And someone was putting things off and putting things off and putting things off. And so her response to this person was, so when the lights are green across town, then you'll go for it. Is that what I'm hearing you say? And he's like, yeah, I guess. So when this set of circumstances ends, guess what happens? Another set of circumstances is going to come up, and another set of circumstances is going to come up, and another set of circumstances is going to come up. And what's happening is you're procrastinating your life away, and procrastination is a suicide of your dreams on the installment plan. Little by little, your dreams disappear and they escape you. And at that moment, he finally realized that was a pattern in his life. Oh, well, something happened. I just can't do it. Oh, something happened. I just can't do it. Oh, something happened. I just can't do it. You got to cut that pattern, like nip it in the bud and take action to combat that. Otherwise, you're going to just stay stuck for the rest of your life. And when I heard that, I was like, suicide of your dreams on the installment plan. Because little by little, you just say, no, can't do it. Excuse. Oh, add the hand, add the eye roll. And everyone else is doing it, so I should be able to do it too. Well, not if you want a life that you actually make a difference with. Not if you want the life and business of your dreams. You have to be willing to do things that 90% of people aren't willing to do. And that's okay, because you get to decide, do you want to be average and ordinary, or do you want to be extraordinary? And I suspect if you're taking the time to actually listen to this podcast, you don't want to stay stuck. You want to be extraordinary. You want to be part of the elite, but it's going to require a courageous action and a massive first step, which can be a swift kick in the pants. You might need that.
In case anyone want to work with you or find your book, where can they reach out to you or find you then?
Yeah. If you want to download, so we have this book available on Amazon, but if you want to download a free copy, we have it available on our website, not just a chapter. You get the whole book, and we've got some amazing bonus resources. It's at stopprocrastinatingbook.com. So stopprocrastinatingbook.com is the best way. Then you'll find our community, and you can find out more about us through that. And I mean, we're on all our social media platforms. I can send you the links so you can put them in the description of the video if you prefer social media, but feel free to download the book. And it's not just a pleasure read. It is a book that's short enough to read quickly, but the idea is that you use this as a workbook. You actually go back through it. You read it once, and then you go back through it and actually do something about it. Because it's not going to work if you don't do the work. Disclaimer, it ain't going to work if you don't actually do the exercises, if you don't ask yourself the questions. But if you do, you will need a telescope to look back and see how far you've come in a very short period of time.
So everyone, I hope if you're listening until now, you already know what to get started to have the life that you always want. And if you want the book, we'll put the link around here as well as in the description and show note. So thank you so much for your time, Larisa. I mean, it's been a pleasure having you on this episode and sharing us this amazing story. And I hope everyone who listening to this episode get unstuck from this procrastination and getting their life from now. So thank you so much for joining our episode today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And it's been an absolute pleasure. If you guys can do one thing, it's take one next step. All you can do is one thing, but just take the next step. Even if it's small, even if it's illogical, but just take the next step. And if you keep taking the next step and the next step and the next step, you'll build momentum, and you're not going to be stuck anymore.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I hope this episode inspires you wherever you are in your entrepreneurial journey, so that you can have your business that supports your lifestyle. Get a show note at getunstuckmethod.com/podcast. Review what we have learned together today and start implementing right now. See it by yourself. The result of your consistent action are worth it. You deserve the freedom to enjoy your life. Until the next episode, let's get unstuck.